Hello everybody, Calamity here, and happy Monday to you. It's also the brand new cycle of a Spiral Abyss, and we're going to take a look at the blessing that we got this time around. And as you would expect, it's a Cryo favored one. I mean, there is a certain Cryo character coming out literally tomorrow, so the blessing is tailored made for her. But that doesn't mean she's the only character that can take advantage of it. Any character that deals Cryo damage at least 4 times, which is very easy to do, will unleash a shockwave that deals true damage, and this can be triggered every 4 seconds and then resets the count to 1, so you have to do 4 attacks again. So rapid hitting cryo characters are a good way to proc this effect very often, and you can see they're using Chongyun in the example because he can convert anybody's attacks into cryo, and then you can just have them basically just make that effect go off all the time. So if we go to floor 12, there's additional buffs, right? On the first half, we have when characters have 0 energy, straight up 75% more damage. Obviously, this is for Skirk because she is a character that doesn't have energy, although I don't know if this also applies to Malvika, because Malvika doesn't also have energy as well. She has what's called Fighting Spirit, so I don't know if that counts. Someone will have to correct me on that. And then on the second half, we have so that characters with normal attack, only normal attacks with cryo damage are increased by 75%. So as in the example below, you could technically use Chongyun with anybody, technically, since he converts your damage into cryo. You can do that sort of synergy, but I don't know how well that will work in a floor 12 Abyss, to be honest, but it's there. It is there. I also just recommend for the first half, lots and lots of Pyro, because we can see here we're dealing with a Pyro, or the Fatui Cryo Mage. And then this, I don't know if anyone even remembers this boss, the Wayward Hermetic Spirit Speaker. You're going to need to bring lots of Pyro damage to destroy her clones. So any AoE Pyro damage is going to do really well here. On the second chamber, same thing. You're going to fight the Gluttonous Yumkasor Mountain King. Once again, you're going to need Pyro to light up the fruit that he eats, just like Yoshi, and then it'll explode in his belly, and it does like a ton of damage. So Pyro again, once again recommended. This one, same thing. The dancers from Fontaine also have a cryo shield that you have to break several times so that you can actually deal damage to the boss. Can be annoying, but also very easy once the shields are broken. Now, if we look at the second half, it's just a perpetual mechanical array again, so nothing special there, right? However, once you get to the second chamber, now we start needing some cryo units, so I highly recommend any sort of cryo damage, main DPS, sub DPS, whatever, because again, the Abyss Lecter, that's an electro shield, cryo deals with it really well, and the Millennial Pearl Seahorse, this boss in particular, also gonna do, like, the cryo damage on its shield is also gonna help you out a lot, so you don't have to deal with any of its mechanics. And then same thing on Chamber 3, the Secret Source Automaton Overseer device. This thing also, if you just have cryo damage, honestly, this boss is just a gigantic paperweight, and it doesn't do much, and you can just pretty much just beat it up until it's dead. Like, there's not much strategy to it if you bring cryo. If you're bringing other elements, it will have some really annoying attacks that you have to deal with and, like, dodge properly or just shield through, depending on your team. But that's why I highly recommend bringing any sort of cryo damage. Again, it doesn't have to be your main DPS. It could be like a Rosaria or a Chongyun or something like that. Or even like a Diona. Just something to apply cryo to this particular boss so it doesn't become more annoying with its attacks. Alright. Let's get this out of the way. I know some of you guys are going to look at my teams and give me the eye roll. I understand. You know, I don't have the Natlan team, I don't have Escoffier, etc, etc. I don't have these characters. But let's go ahead and just talk about the teams first. So the first half, yes, I am using Natlan, a team of Malvika, Silali, Shilanin, and Bennett. Like I said before, I'm actually not sure if Malvika takes advantage of the buff here, because she technically doesn't have any energy. She has Fighting Spirit, which is a different mechanic. So I think it does work on her, but I'm not 100%. Now, with that being said, let's say, you know, Panda, I don't have Malvika. Who can I use? You literally just bring your best Pyro damage dealers or sub damage dealers that you want to bring. Your Yoimiya, your Hu Taos, your Arlequinos, any Zhonling. Like, just bring your Pyro, your best Pyro, because you have to deal, no matter what, you have to deal with a lot of cryo shields regardless. And that's super annoying, right? So Any pyro is going to do really well here, and then you know it, whether you're doing vaporize or a melt team, whichever. And if you are trying to copy this team in particular, if you don't have Shilinin, you can maybe replace her with Ironsen as another 4-star replacement, but you definitely need Malvika and Silali to do the melt team. And hey, at least Malvika is having a rerun in the next update, so you could technically get her if you don't have her. Now for the second team, we have Ayaka, Shenhe, Escoffier, and Farina. Now in my defense, Shenhe is also having a rerun, but Ayaka can be replaced here with any cryo DPS of your choice. If you have Ricely, of course, he's also going to be he's going to be even better, right? Because he can take advantage of the second half buff, whereas Ayaka cannot. She does most of her attacks are either charge, skill, or burst damage. So definitely Ricely going to be your go-to for this one. Now, if you don't have Escoffier, then you can replace her with Rosaria. And if you don't have Rina, like literally just any sort of buff characters, debuff characters that you got are going to help out a lot. You know, because if you don't have Escoffier, then you can bring someone like Kazuha for the elemental resist shred. And to help group up some enemies for certain chambers, but there's not too many big groups of enemies, to be fair. It's mostly bosses we're dealing with. So, I mean, that is an option since you're not going to have the elemental shred that Escoffier provides. So you are going to have to mix and match your teams, find something that works for you. And remember that Skirk is going to be in the next banner. This is literally her Spiral Abyss cycle. Before anyone even gives me a hard time in the comments saying, oh, you wail. It's probably easy for you because you wail for all these characters and their 5-star weapons and whatnot. First of all, I haven't spent money on this game since Eula was in the banner. And I'm not talking about the Chronicled Wish banner either. I'm talking about her rerun banner. Is the last time I spent money to buy her and her weapon. Or I didn't even get her weapon. It was just to get Eula. I have not spent money on this game since. So all of these characters have been pulled with saved up currency. That includes the entirety of Natlan. I explored most of it, got a lot of gems from it, and I used it to pull Malvika, Shilinin, and Silali, all of them and their 5-star weapons, but they're all at C0. Bennett is the only free-to-play character here, so we'll leave him out. On the second half, all 4 of these 5-star characters are C0. Escoffier and Shenhe do not have their signature weapons. Farina and Ayaka do. That is just me being fully transparent with you on these teams. I can showcase the builds afterwards, and then you guys can make fun of my terrible artifacts again. So let's go ahead and begin. Alright, hopefully you get some better cards than me, because again, if you picked Ricely as your cryo DPS, you're chilling. You got normal and charge attack damage increased by 20%. I guess that kind of helps the Natlan team a little bit. With the donut attacks for Malvika. Let's go ahead and begin. You're gonna fight the Cryo Mage first. AoE is gonna be nice here because these mages constantly reapply a Cryo Shield if you let them. But if you do enough damage, you can just totally skip it. Now we go to the boss. She's gonna immediately split into clones. Don't worry about buffs here, just worry about your damage. So we just want to break these. Like, I'm just doing that for AoE. There is no like find the real one type deal. It's she's gonna move to another clone, so you have to destroy all the clones anyways. Once you do that, she gets knocked down like this. Big damage. And that'll be it for the first half. Here, we're gonna fight some robots, and then we fight the mechanical array. Since we're using Ayaka, we gotta be really careful with her burst. If we miss it, it's basically a reset. That's how punishing it is to player. Now this thing can be annoying to fight because if it constantly flies up, it's such a waste of time. So that's why we want to make sure we use her burst after it lands down. Like, it could use the flying up attack twice in a row like that, but... Whoops. That was a bad dodge. And then we look for the one with the aura. There it is. Don't be afraid to use Ayaka's burst on the ad part just to get rid of it faster. There we go. Just a little bit. Yeah, plenty of time, so we're just gonna chill. But yeah, don't be afraid to use Ayaka's burst just to get rid of those annoying enemies. I know some people might like want to save it, but you just want to get through that phase as fast as you can anyways. And it's very RNG. You can have some bad runs where you miss Ayaka's burst because it keeps flying up all the time. And unfortunately, that is just going to be a reset for you. It's just how it is, Ayaka mains. Next up, Chamber 2. Got these things. Then we got the Mountain King coming right up. There he is. You gotta be careful when you, yeah, that will happen basically if you're not careful. So yeah, he's gonna do the attack where he spits out a bunch of fruit. There it is. Oh. After he gets up from being stunned, he will most likely do the spin. Let's see if he does it here. You know, where he spins around. Kind of just being cautious a little bit. There it is. Be careful if you don't have a shield, right? You don't want to underestimate it. I'm just gonna use all just to save time. Alright, so Chamber 2, gonna deal with the Electro shields now. I accidentally did the whole version of Escaffier's skill. That's okay. There you go. Sorry about that. I actually wasted time doing that. We got food. Alright, so when this part happens, remember it's not about damage anymore. It's literally just break his shield, so even Ayaka is really good at this. If you're using Ricely, remember you can just attack him. There we go. This boss is also gonna get an Electro shield that we want to destroy as fast as possible. Don't be afraid of using Ayaka's burst here. Again, we just want to destroy it. There you go. We have one more burst to get it. We just have to make sure we don't miss, basically. There you go. Just don't miss the burst and you're good. And that's gonna be then Chamber 2. So again, cryo shields help make that fight a lot, or cryo damage, excuse me, makes that fight a lot easier. You don't even have to deal with the part where he like flies up into the air and stuff, right? It's a lot easier to deal with. Anyways, this is the last chamber for the first half, so we're gonna deal with the dancing robots. Well, after this. Oops. They can be annoying because they like split up like this. Oh, there we go. There we go. I lost a little bit of time. We were getting Malvika's burst ready. When you're on the phase where you're just breaking their shield, it's not about damage, it's just about hitting them as much as you can. Ow. When you do break the shield though, that's when you do your big attacks. Gonna fly out one more time. Oh, I think. There we go. Want to break the shield first, and then we do Malvika's burst. So, wow, I really lost a lot of time there. 830 is kind of slow. But now we're on the last one, and like I said before, this fight very much nothing. Probably gonna take 2 more bursts from Ayaka to kill this thing. Like I said, not much to say. When you bring Cryo on this fight, it doesn't really do anything. Like, yeah, okay, there's some basic attacks there, but he's not gonna do any fancy beams or anything like that. It's just gonna sit there. There's the last burst from Ayaka to round off the rest of the chamber. Oh, there we go. Literally last second. With a little bit of help from the bubble buddies. And that's gonna be it for the Spiral Abyss. I'll showcase the builds now, but like I said, I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack and people are gonna be like, I don't have all those 5 stars, it's not fair. Hey, I didn't spend any money and I was able to get all these characters. You're gonna need a little bit of luck, of course, but you know, these characters are always gonna cycle around back, so definitely consider pulling for them, or at least any other future characters you want that can replace them. Like obviously you can bring Skirk for this chamber, or for this cycle if you're lacking a good cryo DPS. She'll do really well here, of course. Time for y'all to make fun of my builds. Let's go. Let's start with Malvika, 90. She does have her signature weapon, and she is using the Obsidian Codex. And of course, I just tried my best to get the best damage substats. Like, obviously, this isn't the best right here, but, you know, you just go full damage, attack percentage, Sands. This is an awful piece. Pyro damage, Goblet, and then crit damage or crit rate Circlet, whichever one you feel like you need more of. You know, that's what I go for. She is at C0. And her talents are at 6, 9, and 9. Of course, we can get those even higher for her to do a tiny bit more damage. Once I get the appropriate materials, I'll probably do that. Now, Shillinen, 90. She does have her signature weapon. And she's using, of course, the Scroll of the Hero of Cinder City. And she's built as a support, so she just needs a bunch of defense percentage and energy recharge, and you're good to go. That's literally it. She's very easy to build, and even then her substats aren't like the best or anything, but that's it. C0, 10 on the elemental skill, because that's where most of her elemental res decrease comes from. So if you want the maximum res decrease, you gotta crown this, and then if you care about her normal attacks and her burst, feel free to upgrade those as well. Next up is Silali, 90 of course, signature weapon, also using the Scroll of Hero of Cinder City. For her, it's kind of like Shillinen, but instead of defense percentage, you just want elemental mastery. So energy recharge, elemental mastery, and of course you can fit in some offensive stats like crit rate, crit damage, sure. Put that in there, but you just want elemental mastery on all 3 of her main stats. C0. And her talents are 3, 9, and 10. Now, of course, I crowned the burst, because that's the huge part of her kit, is the burst making the melts do so much damage. Now we're going to move on over to Bennett. Bennett is using a Favonia sword, but you can also give him probably like I usually have him on the Skyward Blade, which has more attack for more attack buff, but more energy is also okay. Noblesse Oblige, built as a healer, so energy recharge. It highlights crit rate, crit damage, so if you get some offensive stats, sure, but you don't need them. I just happen to roll them. Like, this is, at the time, this is like the only energy recharge sands that the domains would give me, so I just used it. Goblet on the HP. and healing bonus or HP percentage on his circlet. And that's pretty much his build. Now going to the cryo team, Ayaka, level 90. There's her signature weapon, like I said in the earlier parts of the video. If you look at her artifacts, she doesn't even have a 4-piece set. She literally is just using the best artifacts I have just sitting around, because I think I was messing around with artifacts before. I forgot with who. But I was like mixing them around, but she doesn't even have a 4-piece. So yeah, my Ayaka could be doing a lot more damage with an actual artifact set. She's just built as a DPS, so crit rate, crit damage. Energy recharge is good for her burst, right? And attack percentage. There's her build. D0, 8, 8, and of course 10 on the burst, because that's the majority of her damage. So if you want to do as much damage as possible, there you go. Shenhe, she does not have her signature weapon. In fact, this is a event weapon. The Missive Wind Spear is an event weapon that we got a few years back. And hey, for those of you that say event weapons can't be used in endgame or that they suck, well, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, the Scavier did most of the carrying there, bud, which is true. But yeah, I'm using the Missive Wind Spear on her, and then she just has a Noblesse Oblige set just for the buff. And she's built as a support, so she just wants attack percentage and energy recharge primarily. But again, it highlights crit rate, crit damage, because if you can get it, great, but you don't have to go out of your way. Just attack percentage on everything except the sands. We went for the energy recharge. There you go. D0. And her talents are 1, 8, and 8. I should be upgrading these. These should be even more so, because the damage bonus you get is even higher. So my Shenhe is not even optimized, and this also increases the res decrease from her burst. So not even an optimized Shenhe. This is probably my worst built character on this team. Next up is a Scavier, 90. She is using a deathmatch. This is from the battle pass, but if you don't have, you could just give her a different 4-star weapon of your choice. Probably not a support one like a Vonius Lance, though. You could give her something like, I think something even like the Mountain Bracing Bolt is okay. Doesn't fit her drip wise, but it's fine, because it increases her elemental skill damage and stuff. So that's more free to play friendly than what I'm using. Anyways, artifact, she's using the Golden Troop so that her skill does a lot of damage, and she's just built as a, well, damage dealer. So she has energy recharge, attack percentage, crit rate, crit damage, and that's pretty much the build. Attack percentage all around, though. You don't need a cryo damage goblet, because remember, her healing also scales off attack percentage. And then crit rate, crit damage, whichever one you're lacking. D0. And her talents are 1, 8, and 7. So yeah, not even optimized here either. We could definitely get both of these up to at least 9. And she'll do even more damage. And last but certainly not least is for my Farina. She's the same. She's using her signature weapon because it's Farina, and she deserves the best. Also using Golden Troop so that her bubble buddies do as much damage as possible. And then built as a DPS. She's HP scaling, so that's why you need HP percentage, some energy recharge, and then crit rate, crit damage are always going to be welcome. There you go, HP Sands, HP Goblet, and then crit rate or crit damage circlet. Choosing, she is at C0, but if my Farina was at C1 or even C2, she would be incredible, and she's double crowned because, again, Farina deserves the best with her elemental skill and burst at 10 and 10. You don't really need to up this one, unless you really want to. And anyways, that's it for me. I would say the Spiral Abyss is only easy because I have plenty of built characters that can take advantage of the not the buffs exactly, because I don't have skirt, and I didn't even take advantage of the cryo normal attack buff, to be fair, but I have just plenty of 5-star characters to help carry me through the game. And when you focus more on dealing with the boss's gimmicks, then the fights themselves become a lot easier. That's the best advice I can give you. Again, if you're struggling, Skirk's going to be in the banner, Malvika's going to be in the banner. And those two characters are definitely going to carry you through this iteration of Spiral Abyss. But if there's anything else you feel like I forgot to add, feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what teams you guys are using. Maybe there's some better options out there. Maybe some 4 stars that people aren't considering. And let me know how the Spiral Abyss was for you. Curious to see what kind of teams other people used. And with that being said, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the new update that comes out tomorrow, and I'll see you all in the next video.